The hunt had begun. Across the silent plains of a shattered moon, Commander Tavar of the Keth Collective moved with purpose. His armor shimmered like liquid chrome beneath the thin sunlight, his claws flexing in anticipation. This mission was not for sport. It was to prove superiority. The prey? Humanity. The Keith had fought countless species. Most crumbled after the first strike. But humans, they were unpredictable, resilient, maddeningly defiant. The Council wanted to understand why. Why did this fragile, warm-blooded species resist extinction so fiercely? Tavar's task was simple: capture one, alive if possible. Through the visor, his scanners traced heat signatures scattered across the ruins below. Crashed ships, burned vehicles, and human corpses marked the landscape. His fleet had struck this colony 2 days earlier. Resistance had been fierce. But there was still one human unaccounted for. "Signal traces ahead," his adjutant hissed over comms. Tavar bared his teeth. "Good. Let's finish this." Inside the broken human command outpost, Sergeant Alex Moran crouched beside a shattered console, bleeding from a deep cut on his arm. He'd been running on adrenaline for 36 hours straight, cut off from command, low on ammo, and with a half-dead comm link. He knew the Keth were hunting survivors. He'd seen what they did to prisoners: vivisection, experimentation, trophies. He'd rather die fighting. Static crackled through his earpiece, a faint human voice. "Echo 4, this is Vanguard. Any survivors?" Alex swallowed hard. "Copy. One alive. Low ammo. Hostiles inbound." "Hold position," the voice said. "Extraction on approach." Alex allowed himself a weak smile. Then the ground trembled. Outside, massive footsteps echoed. Tavar stood before the bunker door. "Primitive alloys," he muttered, unsheathing his plasma blade. One strike sent molten metal dripping to the floor. He stepped inside, his predator's eyes glowing faintly blue in the dark. The human was waiting. Moran opened fire, short, controlled bursts. Bullets sparked off the alien's armor like rain on steel. Tavar advanced slowly, amused. "You fight alone, human. You should have surrendered." "Yeah," Moran grunted, reloading. "We don't do that." He hurled a fragmentation grenade. The explosion ripped through the corridor, shaking dust from the ceiling. When the smoke cleared, Tavar emerged, armor cracked but still moving. Impressive, he thought. The human's heart rate was spiking, but there was no fear, only determination. Tavar lunged, knocking the rifle aside. Moran rolled under the strike, slashing with his combat knife, cutting deep into the alien's thigh joint. Tavar roared, more in surprise than pain. No other prey had ever come this close. The fight became a blur of motion, blade against steel, instinct against instinct. Finally, Tavar slammed Moran into a wall, claws digging into the armor plating on his chest. "You are strong," Tavar growled, "but you bleed easily." "So do you," Moran spat, jamming his knife straight into the alien's throat. They both fell. For a long moment, there was silence. Then Tavar rose again, wounded but alive. The human lay motionless, breathing shallowly. The commander crouched beside him, studying his face. Dirt, sweat, blood. Yet the expression was calm. There was no surrender even in defeat. He keyed his comms. "Subject captured. Bring the ship." Hours later, deep in orbit, the Keth cruiser Vraxion loomed like a blade above the planet. The human lay restrained in a containment field. Medical drones patched his wounds. Tavar stood beside the observation panel, watching. He could not explain it. Something about the human unsettled him. The data said humans were average, weak strength, low endurance, soft flesh. But this one had fought like a creature born from war itself. The ship's AI chimed. "Commander, shall I initiate interrogation?" Tavar hesitated. "No. Wake him first. I want to see his eyes." Moments later, Alex Moran's eyes open, blue, sharp, aware. Where am I? In orbit, Tavar said. You fought well, human. Your species fascinates us. You resist logic, pain, even extinction. Moran smiled faintly. We're stubborn that way. Why fight when defeat is inevitable? Because maybe it isn't. Tavar tilted his head. You believe hope has power? I believe giving up means you're already dead. Something shifted in the alien's expression. Not pity, not admiration, but understanding. He'd hunted thousands, but none had spoken like this. The console beeped. Incoming transmission from the fleet. Commander, human reinforcements inbound. Multiple warships emerging from hyperspace. Tavar turned sharply. Impossible. They were scattered. Sensors flared red as human ships appeared in orbit, weapons armed. The Vraxians shuddered under the first barrage. Moran smirked. Told you, we don't give up. The bridge descended into chaos. Energy blasts ripped through the hull. Tavar's officers shouted commands, scrambling to respond. Evacuate the lab, he ordered. But when he turned back, the human was gone. The containment field had failed in the blast. An alert pinged, unauthorized movement. Lower decks. Tavar snarled and followed. He found Moran in the engine bay, half burned but alive, setting a detonator on the reactor core. You would destroy yourself just to kill us? The alien barked. Not destroy, Moran replied. Even the odds. The two locked eyes. Predator and prey, mirror reflections of survival instinct. Then the alarm roared. Core overload imminent. Tavar lunged. Moran hit the detonator. From orbit, the human fleet saw the explosion bloom like a newborn star. The Vraxian shattered, fragments scattering across the void. Minutes later, human comms picked up a faint distress beacon, one escape pod, drifting amid debris. They recovered 2 life signs, one human, one alien. Days later, on a med ship orbiting Mars, Moran opened his eyes again. His arm was bandaged, ribs broken, but he was alive. In the next bed lay Tavar, unconscious but stable. A human officer stood nearby. You brought him back? Moran winced, nodding. He saved me in the blast, pulled me into the pod. After trying to kill you? Yeah, guess we both learned something. The officer frowned. What's that? That monsters and men aren't as different as we think. Outside the viewport, the sun rose over the red planet, bathing the room in gold. Humanity had survived another day, not by being stronger, but by refusing to break. And somewhere in the shadows of his mind, Moran knew this wasn't the end. The Keth would return, and when they did, humanity would be ready. Because that's what humans do. They adapt. They endure. They fight. Always.